यशोमतिनन्दन व्रजवरनागर गोकुलरञ्जन कानन यशोमतिनन्दन व्रजवर. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to your Sangha. My humble obeisances to all the devotees of Tampa, Florida, and please accept Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai अपने अपने गुरुदेव की जय. श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय. जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय. सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय. श्री श्री गौरनिताई की जय. लक्ष्मी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा. So I've decided actually that we will discuss today on this topic, overcoming fear. And of course, as Prabhu introduced that need of the hour, we are all surrounded by such situation across the world that this is something we need to talk about. So we're going to discuss today about how to overcome fear, or rather how to manage fear. So what is fear? To start with, what is fear? We're going to talk about fear today, but what's fear? So fear, it's an emotion. It's a natural emotion. It's a natural emotion, or rather I'll say it's a response. It's a response to a particular situation, particular event. So nothing wrong. Actually, there's nothing wrong to have in having fear. Fear is most common also actually. If you see in all the species, these four things: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithun. These four things are common among all these species. So nothing wrong. Everybody has fear. We see the fear in birds, animals. They have all the more, you see. When a bird is eating, have you ever observed a pigeon or a crow or a hen, eating some grains? You will see they're so fearful, looking here and there, and they're so fearful. So this fear is there in everybody. That's why a man constructs a house. Why? Prabhupada uses the translation for bhaya as defense, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, because we have fear. So we have this house, we want to defend ourselves from different situations. So fear is there. Nothing wrong in having fear. The only thing is in what proportion. That is what we are going to discuss today. And what kind of fear. Now fear also there are different types. There is positive fear, there is negative fear, there is real fear, there is imaginative fear. Why are we discussing fear today is, the problem with fear is contagious. That's the problem. Just like the corona virus, fear is also very contagious. So if somebody is fearful, then that fear goes to another person and the other person, and the whole community becomes fearful. So that is why we are talking about fear today, because it's contagious. So we have to protect ourselves. Because fear weakens our immune system. That's what the doctors say. That's what the research says. If somebody is fearful, then his immune system becomes weak. So fear weak, and this moment we don't want a weak immune system. So fear weakens our immune system. Fear disturbs our capacity to do work. When we are in fear, we lose compassion. So we lose compassion, we lose capacity, we weaken our immune system, it's contagious, we pass it on to others. And the most important thing, fear kills, even before the disease kills us. So that is why we are going to talk about fear today, because Arjuna also had fear. And the whole thing started from fear. The Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna was in lamentation and fear, and he was shivering. And he said, the bow is not, it's slipping from my hand. Krishna, please say something, do something. I don't know what to do next. So he was in fear in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And we are also, as of now, all of us are in a battlefield. We are not in Kurukshetra, but we are also in a battle with COVID, battle with this whole pandemic situation. So we are in the same situation which Arjuna was 5,000 years ago. He was fighting the Kauravas, we are fighting the COVID. And we are in pain, and we are famished, we are fatigued, we are, financially, morally, physically, mentally, we are all drained now. This is going on last 1 year, this whole situation. So we are drained and we are in pain now all the more. I don't know about the West, but in India with the second wave, every single day we are losing our loved ones. Even for my own personal life, whether it's my biological family back home, my relatives, or if it's my real family, that is ISKCON family, I'm regularly, alternate days, just hearing one thing. This person died, this devotee died, this devotee died, this devotee died. It's so painful. The whole situation is so painful. So we have to talk about this because it's becoming contagious if we get depressed, because fear will give birth to anxiety and stress and depression, and it's a continuous process. So we'll have to stop it at the bud. So we'll talk about fear today. What should we do? We can't eradicate it, but we'll manage it. We have to manage it. So this fear is of two types. There is a positive fear, which is good. Positive fear, it motivates us. It will take us to the right direction and it will protect us. Something like, if I'm crossing a road today, I need to have fear. There are cars on both the sides, and this fear will make me more responsible when I'm crossing the road. Or let's say I've climbed a 50-storied building and I'm peeping from there, but if I have a fear, I'll be more careful. Otherwise, I may slip. So yeah, there is some positive fear, but then there is a negative fear. There's a negative fear, and that fear will take us into anxiety, stress, and depression. And then there is a real fear, which is actually existing, and then there is an imaginary fear. According to the statistics, 65% of the time when we say we are having fear, it's because of the thinking about events which will probably never ever happen. It's just our imagination. 65%, that's what the statistics say. And 12% of our fear is about past events, which is useless because the events have already happened. And 13% of our fear is about people around us whom we can't change. 6% of our fear is about events which we have no control over. And they say only 4% of our fear is actual fear. That means 96% of the time our fear is imagination. So, whether real or imagination, what do we do with fear? Where does this fear come from is what we are going to discuss today. What is disproportionate fear? How do we manage fear, and where does this fear actually come from? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, chapter 16, verse number 1, he says one of the divine qualities is to be fearless. Abhayam. He says, Abhayam sattva samsiddhim. The first verse of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's a divine quality to be fearless. So, first of all, where does this fear come from? So there are many reasons, but one of the source of fear is our mind. The fear comes from our mind. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 5, Krishna says, mind can be our best friend. Mind can also be our enemy. We should know how to manage the mind. And this fear comes from mind. Mind tricks us. Mind gives us purport and translation to every event according to its choice and the way it is trained. You see, some people have a very positive frame of mind. For every situation, they'll give a positive translation and purport. And some people have they're having this kind of a, negative mindset. They're pessimistic, or they will give a negative translation to everything, every event that they face in life. So, what is this mind? The scientists have made a very beautiful research many years ago. In Canada, when they had released this movie called, Lawrence of Arabia, where this, the whole movie is about, in desert and some prince or whatever. And to their surprise, that year in Canada, it was so cold, winter, there was minus 30 degrees. It was a record, one of the coldest winter. But to their surprise, the sale of ice creams was highest than any other year. So what is the connection? Because they were continuously watching the movie in the cinema theaters, and when they used to come out in the interval, they used to feel that, oh, it's so hot, because they've been watching the desert, whereas it was super cold. So see how the mind tricks us, because they're continuously, their focus is on the desert, they start feeling it's very hot. That means mind has the ability to make us feel happy or sad. Mind has the ability to make us all the time focus on that which we don't have, and that again causes fear. The scriptures say the mind always drags us to the past, lamenting about the past, worrying about or hankering for things in future, and illusion in present. This is what mind does with us. And it is always focusing on that which we don't have. You see, in the scriptures, we have this pastime of Maharaj Chitraketu. He had 1 crore wives. Each wife had 10 maids. And you can imagine how big must be his palace and how great must be his opulence. But he was unhappy. Why? Because he didn't have son. So out of all these 99 things he had, he was not bothered about it. Only that one thing which was missing in his life, he didn't have son, he was lamenting about it and hankering for it. We see in the case of Maharaj Anga, he had everything in life, but he had a son who was uncultured. So he was unhappy about everything. His whole focus was on that son who was uncultured. So that is how the mind tricks us. It does not show us what we have. It only shows us what we don't have. And that way it makes us dissatisfied, and it makes us frustrated, and it makes us hanker for things. And this hankering and this lamentation will lead to fear. Oh, if I don't get it, if this happens, if that happens. That is why during this corona situation, it's not only about sanitizing our hands. We have to sanitize our mind. The mind needs to be sanitized. The mind needs to be cleaned, because the mind makes us fearful. So, according to the research, there are many things that causes fear, that brings in fear. And I was just listing them down. What cause fear? Now, there may be so many fears. You may have fear of relationship, you may have fear of health, you may have financial fear, there's so many fears. But all this fear, where it comes from, the source, I was just making a research, and then I saw that there's something called, sometimes, I've seen when devotees say that they're completely all right, but still there is some kind of a fear which they're not able to come out, and that may be also because of some past life incident. Sometimes it happens. Now, there is one very interesting book called Many Lives and Many Masters. Many Lives, Many Masters. And there, in that book, there is one very interesting story about somebody who had multiple fears, and then she goes to a psychiatrist, and then he does this hypnosis, past life, to get out her past life, what had happened, So he does this process of hypnosis, and in this whole process, they come to know that whatever she had fear in this life was so much connected to her past life incidents. So yeah, that is one possibility. Sometimes we have fear because of some past life situation, like somebody has a fear of water. Maybe in the past life they had something to do with water. Maybe they saw their loved one drowning in water, or they had some accident with water. So that is one thing. The other situation why we get fear is because sometimes because of some kind of a trauma. Maybe somebody has gone through something early in their life, and then afterwards, no matter how much they try to conceal their mind, they aren't able to come out of the trauma. It happens because sometimes, see, our body is a machine. So if there is some situation you have faced in your life, the body releases some kind of a chemical or some kind of a instruction to face that situation. But sometimes what happens, there is an imbalance. Even after the situation has been rectified and corrected, but your mind still giving same instruction. Your mind is still releasing same kind of chemicals, and they are not able to come out from the fear. So yeah, sometimes that is one reason of fear, some past incident. The other research made by a scientist in Chicago, he said that sometimes fear is hereditary. He said that can happen because if the ancestors have gone through some, because he made a research about some refugees or some people who were in some kind of war camps, or maybe they were into slavery, or they were in some kind of a very pathetic situation. So there was a modification in their cellular structure. So even the third generation also had that effect. So that can happen. That's one reason why there is fear. The other reason why we get fear is because of family atmosphere. Sometimes person may be positively inclined, but maybe the situation in family is like that. If the others are pessimistic and they drag the person to negative thinking. So many times I've seen parents ask me that why my child is having so much fear, fear of exams, stage fear, this fear, that fear. But sometimes the answer lies in your atmosphere at home. Sometimes, you have corrected the child so much that the child loses confidence. You make something, you say, you shouldn't have done it this way, you shouldn't have done it that way, why are you sitting like this, why didn't you do this? If you're continuously correcting in a way where there is no balance of appreciation and criticism, sometimes child gets into fear. Or sometimes the parents themselves are so fearful. For everything they're very negative. Who is there at this time of the night? Why are they knocking the door? Or who must have called? What must have happened? What will people think about us if we do this? Or do you think this will have a loss? If there's so much negative, then everything becomes negative. So it's an atmosphere that may also bring negativity. The other reason why we get fear is our desire to control. We forget Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Lord is the controller. And we think we are the controller. But we are not able to control. We are convinced that we are the controller. But we don't have capacity to control, or rather, we have limited capacity to control. And now because we are not able to control things, we become fearful. Because thing is not happening according to what I had planned. So now I am fearful. I thought this is supposed to happen this way, but it didn't happen. I thought he will respond like this. I thought this will happen like this, but it didn't happen. Now I am fearful because I think I am controller of situation, people. Everything should be under my control. So now I am fearful. The other reason Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, or Srimad Bhagavatam says, is that we are fearful when we misidentify ourselves with this body. Because we are not this body, we are soul. So the whole fear comes in when we identify ourselves with something which we are not. Something which we are not. Then the fear comes in. Here it says Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37. In this verse very clearly says, fear arises because of misidentification with material body. We are so attached to this material body, and that brings fear. Because we are not able to accept the fact that this material body is temporary. We are not able to accept the fact that we are temporary in this world. We are not able to accept it. We think we are permanent. We think this is mine. Right? This is mine and this has to go in this direction only. We are so attached to our body. In an apartment in Mumbai, they had this elevator. And that elevator was pretty slow. So all the residents of the apartments, they went and complained, this elevator is so slow, it goes so slow and so much time waste. You are somewhere on the 5th floor, 10th floor, and by the time it comes, we are wasting time. Better to change it. So then they asked the elevator company, can you just do something so that the elevator becomes a little faster? And they were very smart people. What they simply did is, instead of changing the mechanism of the elevator, they simply put mirrors all around, inside the elevator. And now the next time, when the residents were going up and down, they never realized how the time passed because there are mirrors everywhere inside the elevator. And the moment they get in, they're so busy looking at themselves. They're so busy looking at the most beautiful person in the world. They're just looking at themselves, and then they started complaining, it's very fast. Maybe you can slow it down. The elevator is very fast. Maybe you should slow it down. Because they're so happy looking at themselves and they don't know where the time flies. So we are so attached to this material body. And that is why there is fear. because we don't want to lose it. We are afraid it will perish. We'll have to give it up. So that brings fear. Whereas we are able to see around us, and not only, I'm not talking about COVID situation, in general also, we know everybody has to die. And we know people around us are, they're leaving bodies, and that will happen. It's natural, is it not? It's not that only, I'm sorry to say, but it's not that only COVID is killing. Even if COVID doesn't kill, something else will kill. But death is there. Death is for sure. That we have to accept. Like in 1971, 72, I think Srila Prabhupada was in New Delhi and he was having an interview with a TV reporter. And this, and suddenly at that time, this war was going on, and Pakistan, they started throwing bombs. So there was a sudden blackout, and Prabhupada is inside the studio and the shooting is going on. And suddenly there is a blackout, and the reporter who was taking Prabhupada's interview, he was in panic. And he said, Swamiji, somebody should tell this Yahya Khan, the president of Pakistan, stop this bombing, somebody should tell him, he was shouting on the top of his voice. And what do you say? And Prabhupada very coolly replied, he said, why are you flattering Yahya Khan? Why not you flatter Krishna? And this reporter could not understand what Prabhupada is saying, and he repeated. He said, why are you flattering Yahya Khan? Why not you flatter Krishna? If Yahya Khan stops bomb, so that means you will not die? Everybody has to die. So what he means to say is, even if this bomb doesn't kill you, ultimately you have to die. Someday you have to die. So that preparation should be there in the mind. Okay, even if, someday it has to happen, because the whole point is, fear is because I don't want to leave my body. The fear is because I want things to happen in this way only. The fear is because I think it's mine and I'll not give it up. This is mine, this is permanently mine, and I don't want to give it up. The moment we understand it's not yours, there is no fears. Somebody's thing you have taken, it's a borrowed plume, it's a borrowed thing. So how can you be so attached to something which is not yours? So the scriptures say this. So Pashyan api na pashyati. Scriptures say that we are seeing, but we are not seeing. We are seeing, yes, people around us. 10 years back also people died. 15 years back also they died. 50 years back also our grandparents die, and in future also people will die, and it's a regular thing. But we still think, no, everything should be permanent. So that is one thing which causes fear. Too much attachment with the body. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he sings this very beautiful bhajan. He says, Smashana sharira mura padiya rahibe, bihanga patanga tara vihara karibe, kukura shrigala saba anandita hoibe, mahotsav karibe ta amare deya nahiye. He says, Smashana sharira mura padiya rahibe. When my body will die, when the dead body is lying there, who will enjoy? The bihanga and patanga. All these insects and all, they'll have so much fun, they'll go up and down my body and they'll have all the fun. Kukura shrigala, the dogs and the wolves, they'll have a Sunday feast. Oh, tasty food has arrived. And Mahotsava Karibe, there'll be a festival for them, and I'm so attached to this body of mine, which is ultimately, I have to give it up. It's not mine, it's not permanent. And what's so great about this body? It keeps degenerating every day. It smells bad. It's made up of pus and stool and blood, and it's nothing that, it's not Satchidananda body or something like that. So when we are too much attached to our body, in fact, our relatives and friends who show us so much affection towards our body, the moment the soul from this body goes away, immediately, even if your own wife, your own husband, your own children, if they say there is no space in the crematorium, can you keep the body tonight? They'll say, no. They're afraid, take it. But just half an hour back, you were so attached to the body, but now the soul is not there inside the body. You are afraid of that body. You don't want the body in the house tonight. So like that, if we are attached to the body, then the fear comes. Fear comes because of ignorance. Fear comes because of unrealistic expectations. if we have unrealistic expectations. There is a gap between what is reality and what is our expectation, and that gap causes fear. So what to do? We have to learn to adjust. We have so many expectations in this world. This has to go like this, that has to go like this. We don't know how to adjust, and that is causing fear. I remember when I was, many years ago, traveling from Visakhapatnam to Mayapur with all our congregation devotees, and I think we were in Chennai Express, Chennai Howrah Express. So there was one little boy, who was having a window seat, and you know how in the Indian railways, sometimes the windows, they just don't go up, and this small little boy was going on trying whole journey to put the window, but every time he's putting it up, it was sliding down. There was some technical problem. And finally, on the second day of our journey, afternoon 12, when we were almost, reaching Howrah, he somehow managed to do it with some Sprite bottle, some cool drink that he had drank, and he made it into half, and he somehow put it there in the pulley, and it somehow happened, and the window opened fully, and nice breeze was coming in. As he managed to do it, the train pulled in the platform, and we were already in Howrah. And now the parents were like, okay, time to go. And the child was crying. No, now my journey has to begin. I'm all ready. The window is ready. Nice breeze is coming. I want to go now. And the parents said, but it's over. We have reached the destination. Get down. And he's like, no, I want to continue the journey. And they somehow had to pull him, And I was just thinking, that's with life. We're going on adjusting, this thing tightening. And we just kept on doing that whole life. And by the time we are all ready, it's time to go. So why waste time in adjusting people, changing situations, Why can't we adjust ourselves a little bit? And whatever existing situation, and try to make the best out of it. Whatever spouse Krishna has allotted to you, whatever children, with whatever temperament Krishna has allotted to you, whatever finances Krishna has allotted to you, whatever health condition Krishna has allotted to you, why can't we just adjust with that? Then there is no fear. Acceptance, then there is no fear. Unrealistic expectation, lot of fear. So unrealistic expectation. External factors are not going to change. What we can simply do is increase our inner strength. The formula is simple. Inner strength by external factors is equal to fear. So, can you do something about the external things? You can't. So, let's say the external factors are 10, just increase your inner immunity. What are they talking nowadays in the media? They say corona has become airborne in India. Nobody can escape. Everybody will get corona. You increase your immunity. Corona is airborne. That's it. So, this material world, all these miseries are airborne. You can't escape. If you think I'll escape, no, everybody has to go through Adidevik, Adhyatmik, Adibhautik. All these three problems everybody will get. Nobody is an exception. Whether he is a man or a woman. Whether he is a devotee or non-devotee. Whether he is rich or poor. Whether he is an American or Indian. Everybody has to go through these three problems. The only thing we can do is increase our inner immunity. So the formula becomes like this. We increase our inner immunity, we increase our inner strength, then inner strength 10 by external factor 10 divided by 10. So what we are simply doing is that way we are able to reduce the stress. That way we are able to reduce the fear. Right? So, not to have unrealistic expectations. Desire also causes fear. We have so many desires, and then if those desires don't get fulfilled, we are worried, we are afraid. So many desires. They say it is difficult to be happy with less, but with more, it is impossible. People think if I can get this a little more, I'll be happy. If I can get this a little more, I'll be happy. I was reading a couple of years ago one article, one business tycoon, he made a very intelligent statement. He said, after 40 years of working in corporate life, I have realized that Mercedes-Benz and Honda City both have 4 tires and both reach the destination on the same time. So what he was trying to say is that whole my life I'm trying to work hard to get the best of the cars, the best of the luxury things, but I understood after 40 years that both the cars, they have 4 tires, and both the cars reach destination on the same time. So what was the point of struggling so hard to get the better one? So this desires also brings in fear. There was one there is one very amazing pastime of this king called Bhartahari. He was very attached to his wife, but somehow his wife cheated him. So when he was madly in love with his wife, he had written something called 100 verses explaining the beauty of his wife. And then when his wife cheated him, he wrote something called Vairagya Shatakam. So initially he had written something called Shringara Shatakam, where he explains the beauty of his wife. But now that she had cheated him, he wrote this Vairagya Shatakam. And there is one very beautiful verse in that Shatakam, in that 100 verse, where he explains the different kinds of fear. And he explains that how everybody in this world is fearful. He said if somebody is a bhogi, he wants to enjoy, then he's fear of disease. If somebody is beautiful, then he's having fear of old age. If somebody is very famous, then he's having a fear of defamation. If somebody is having a lot of good virtues, then he's afraid that somebody may vilify him. If somebody, so like that he kept going on, different things, how people are in every situation fearful. He said even if somebody is a scholar, then he's fearful that somebody may defeat him. The scholars, they have this competition where they defeat each other. So they'll somebody is very much attached to his family lineage, then he's afraid that his his successors may spoil his reputation, his family reputation. So like that he went on explaining that how everybody is afraid, everybody is having fear of losing something. And then in the last, he says that who is not fearful? The one who has no expectations. If you have attachments, then there is fear. If I am attached to good name, then I have fear of losing it. So those who have wealth, they are fear of dacoits. So like that he went on that everybody has fear. So fear is there as long as there is attachment. If I'm attached, people should think about me in a certain way. So now I'm very much having fear if they think about me some other way. If I'm attached to my money, then I'm afraid. If I'm attached to my body, then I'm afraid of death. If I'm attached to good name, then I'm afraid of being vilified. So like that, if there is attachment, then there is fear. So like we made a very, very beautiful point. The other reason the fear is there is because of time. Time causes fear in everybody's heart. Srila Prabhupada says in one of the purports in Srimad Bhagavatam, he says the old age is a summon of time. It's a notice of time. It's time, when old age comes, time is giving you a notice. Yeah, it's time to go. That is why you see, those who are young, they always feel that how come the clock is so slow? Why can't it go a little faster? The day is not passing. And for those who are old, they feel, oh God, the time is running so fast. It should stop, The decades and months and years are flying. They're just flying, As we grow old, the desires don't go away. But the capacity to fulfill them is not there anymore. That causes frustration. That causes fear. Because you want something, but now you can't get it because you don't have the capacity. So like that we can go on and on. But then what we will do now is jump to the practical part of it. Okay, we understand these are the causes of fear. So how do we overcome fear? What should we do to overcome fear? So the first and the foremost thing is to have faith on the Lord, because our fear is shaped by our faith. Where does your faith lie? If your faith lies on your material assets, then you are in big soup, because these material assets are not permanent. So the moment they are destroyed or they have been taken away from you, you are in fear. But if somebody has faith on Krishna, if their faith lies on Krishna, Krishna is eternal. He is never going to leave us. So then there is no fear. So faith on Krishna. we should understand that sometimes the things are not under our control, but they're always under Krishna's control. Things are never out of Krishna's control. So sometimes it happens, the kind of situation that we are facing now, some things may not make sense to us. But because the things don't make sense to us does not mean that the thing doesn't have sense. Maybe we are not able to make sense out of it just now. We are having our limited capacity. But everything happening in this world is Krishna's plan. And we should have that faith on Krishna. Everything that happens is not good. But everything that happens for good. Now there is a difference here. Everything that happens is not good. But everything that happens for good. For example, when Draupadi was disrobed in the Kuru Sabha, they can't go and tell Draupadi, very nice, what happened with you, don't worry, whatever happens for good. No, it is what happened was not good, but it happens for good. So what happened later on? Oh yeah, she got insulted, but Krishna saved. She got insulted, but then again later on they got the kingdom. It was a whole plan of Krishna, and because of that the Mahabharata war happened, and Krishna fulfilled what he was supposed to do. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya chaduskrutam. All the dushta were all destroyed in the war of Mahabharata. So everything is according to Krishna's mega master plan. We are just those small people playing some small different roles. So everything that happens is not good, but it happens for good. I don't know if I have told this story here in this forum, but I had heard it from some devotee about how there was one Mataji who was an air hostess, and she was in New Vrindavan for a holiday, and suddenly she got a call from her airlines that she has to report to duty next day morning, and New Vrindavan being a rural community, there was no way that she can reach, so she didn't know what to do. In the evening she met a devotee at Sandhya Aarti. So that devotee said, well, I'm going to the airport. I have some work tomorrow and I can just, give you a lift. I can drop you, Mataji, to the airport. And she thought Krishna is so kind, made an arrangement and tomorrow I'll join the duty. So next day morning, the devotee asked her, you stand in this particular place and I'll pick you up. So she was all ready with her bags packed, but he never came. So morning 7 o'clock, she's been waiting. 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 11:30, the devotee never turned up. And the way the situation is, there is no network. Finally at 11:30, she somehow could call that devotee and she asked, Prabhu, what is this? It's 11:30. Now, what is this? You have not picked me up. And he said, I'm so sorry, Mataji. I completely forgot that I have to pick you up. I'm already almost reaching the airport. I can't come back for you. And she felt so bad. Oh, Krishna, why didn't you help me? I had to report to my duty. It was so urgent. She didn't know what to say. Anyway, reluctantly in the evening when she went to Sandhya Aarti, she was dancing with one other Mataji. And while dancing, that Mataji, just whispered, did you hear that? And she said, what? Oh, that devotee who was supposed to pick you up in the morning, he met a very bad road accident and he's in the hospital. And she was shocked. Oh, really? And then she just showed some picture and she said that the way the accident happened, if somebody was sitting on the passenger seat, they would have been, killed. No chance of survival. But somehow, the drunken driving case and drinking and driving, and he had smashed the car from the passenger side. Now this Mataji understood, that was Krishna's plan. That's why the devotee forgot to pick me up. And here I am saved. So sometimes there is a time lag. We can't understand what is Krishna's plan. So we may not be able to see things, or things may not make sense to us just now. But then there is a plan. I remember last month, my husband was detected COVID positive. And then, he has some other major health issues. So we took him to the doctor and whatever treatment was to be done, we had done. And when I was discussing with my elder son, towards dinner prasadam, and I was just telling him, I said, Jai Hari Kare Se Mama Hita. Whatever Krishna does, it's for our good. Jai Hari Kare Se Mama Hita. It's for my good. So my son said, it's nice, Mama, but sometimes, are you sure? Dad's got COVID. So how can there be something nice in this? And how can you say this? And I said this with full faith, but I had no idea what is Krishna's plan. Okay, he was positive, and then I was serving him, so I became COVID positive. And my children who were there in my house, they became, both my sons were COVID positive, and the whole family. Okay, within 10 days, we all recovered very well and everything went well. And after that, as soon as we were recovered, the whole situation started changing. The coronavirus wave became more heavier. The medicines became scarce. No beds. Hospitals, the whole situation was chaotic, and it's still chaotic. It's still in the same situation. And now the thing is, it has become airborne. Now there's just nobody, who hasn't gone through. Everybody is affected through corona. So yesterday I was telling my son that now can you see Krishna's plan in this? Because now if we get COVID, we are in big mess, because the doctors have switched off phones. Many of the doctors got affected with COVID. There are no beds in any hospital. There are no injections available. So I said, now what would have happened if you would have get now? So Krishna was so kind. We are done and dusted, over. We passed through it, we went through it, and it was over. So now can you see Krishna's plan? So he said, yes, Mama. So I said, yeah, see how Krishna is not only planning the life of Arjun, he's planning the life of every devotee. He has a plan, he has a master plan. But we should have faith on Krishna. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will protect. Krishna will protect. We should have unflinching faith. One of my favorite story is this pastime which Prabhupada said in one of his conversations. He was saying that in Calcutta, as a grihastha, he was once walking his son around, little son, I think Vrindavan, the last son, Vrindavan day, and then and they just climbed a tram. In Calcutta they have these trams. So when they were sitting in the tram, the conductor who comes and gives you a ticket, manually they give you a ticket and you have to pay something for that. So now this conductor was making a joke with the little boy, Prabhupada's son. Hey boy, so do you have ticket? Do you have money to buy ticket? And he said, no. I said, oh, so you don't have money to buy ticket. Shall I throw you out of the tram? You don't have a ticket. I'm going to throw you out of the tram. You're just making some joke, something to talk. And Prabhupada said, my little son was so confident. He told the conductor, you cannot throw me out of the tram. My father is there with me. My father will pay for it. And he was so confident. And then Prabhupada said something so beautiful. Prabhupada said, this is the confidence we should have for Krishna. This is the confidence we should have. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will protect. Just like a little child. Little child has so much faith that my father will protect me. We should have that kind of a faith on Krishna. Krishna will protect me. So that when we have that faith, then there is no fear. Fear is there if we are not having 100% faith on Krishna. Krishna is our Shreyo Abhilashi. Suhrida Sarvabhutanam. He is best friend of everybody. He is a well-wisher of everybody. And he doesn't do injustice to anybody. So we should have full faith on Krishna. So when we have faith on Krishna, then there is no fear. So that is one way to get rid of fear. The other thing is, see, that is why you see, the Pandavas, they faced so many calamities in their life, but they had full faith on Krishna. They had full faith on Krishna. See, one more thing, very important. Sometimes our conception of Krishna is also very wrong. We think Krishna's protection means if I don't get COVID, then Krishna has protected me. No. See, it's not that Krishna is your, his main job is to simply go on blessing you. Having Krishna in our life itself is a blessing. Sometimes we have a conviction that Krishna will give us shelter. Krishna himself is shelter. It's not that Krishna is giving us shelter. Krishna is the supreme shelter. The fact that we are connected to Krishna, the fact that we are able to hear Krishna's message, the fact that we are able to remember him, the fact that we are chanting, the fact that we are able to associate with his devotees, that itself is shelter. That itself is Krishna's protection. But our conception of Krishna's protection is that he should be the source of all blessings. But he himself is a blessing. To have Krishna in our life is a blessing. We are behaving like Duryodhan. Duryodhan wanted to have Krishna's Narayani Sena, but Arjun wanted Krishna. So are we Duryodhan? We want to have Krishna's blessings, Krishna's protection. We want everything from Krishna. No, we should want Krishna himself. Krishna is in our life. That itself is a protection. The fact that we are able to remember him. What Sita Mata said when Hanuman, went to Ashok Vatika and, Mother, how are you? I have to inform Lord Ram. And Sita said, the actual problem in life is if somebody forgets Krishna. This is not a problem. If the actual problem is if I forget Ram, then that is a problem in my life. Whereas all I'm facing, this is temporary. Everything will be fine. My Lord will come. He'll fight with Ravan. He'll take me. All these things in life are temporary. All these problems in life are temporary. All these problems in life, these are all phases. It'll go. After day there is night. After night there is day. It'll pass. Everything will pass. And then 10 years down the line, we'll be thinking about this COVID situation. We'll be talking about it. Oh, this happened, that happened. This is going to pass. What is a problem is if we forget Krishna. Now that is a big problem. If we are not able to remember Krishna, then that is a problem. So having faith on Krishna, having the right conception of Krishna, having what is in the center of your life is very important. Fear is coming because you have kept some temporary and fragile thing as a center of your life. And now if that is taken away, we'll feel bad. But if we have kept Krishna as a center of our life, Krishna is not fragile. Krishna is not going to go away. So then everything is fine. Just like a bird. Bird. If the bird is on a branch, okay, and now the bird has got very attached to the branch. Now if the woodcutter comes and he breaks the branch, what will happen? The bird will be, finished. It will just fall down, cry. But you know what? The birds don't do that. They're very smart. While they are taking shelter of branch, they're also nourishing their wings, so that the moment the woodcutter cuts the branch, they'll fly away. This is what we have to do in our life. While we take shelter of our material things, we require. Money is required for buying hospital, dues, bill, or everything we require. We require help from other people. We require help from doctor. Yeah. So while we take shelter of all this, which is as of now available, we also start nourishing our wings. That means prepare, okay. If anything happens wrong, it's okay. I have Krishna to take shelter. Yeah, I know. So there has to be a preparation. We have to nourish our wings. So who is in the center of our life? That's the question. If we have kept material things as a center of our life, then we are definitely going to have fear, because it's not permanent. What happened to Parikshit Maharaj? Suddenly he comes to know that he's going to die in 7 days. So he's sorry about it? No, he's prepared. It's okay. So I'm prepared. Okay. So now I'll just hear Hari Katha and I'll leave my body. Right? So like that. So those who are devotees, they have faith on Krishna. We see in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, when he was attacked by that ghost created by Durvasa Muni, it says in the Bhagavatam, he did not even move 1 inch. Even that jerk, sometimes that knee jerk, that reaction, somebody is just coming to you running, what will happen? Immediate spontaneous reaction will be, you just go down, you'll move back, you'll try to save yourself. Completely, he was just standing like this, no reaction. So much faith he has on Krishna. So this faith on Krishna increases by hearing. When we hear, then our wisdom increases. When wisdom increases, then we don't relate ourselves to this body. If we don't relate ourselves to this material body, then there is no fear. It's all interconnected. See, when you relate yourself, I am an Indian. Then if India loses a cricket match with Pakistan, you're going to cry, not have dinner, because you're relating yourself to India, or you're relating yourself to a country. If you're not relating yourself to anything, then you watch nothing. There's no emotional reaction. We are now reacting because we think we are body. The moment that attachment is not there because of wisdom, which comes because of reading scriptures, then there is no fear. It's all cycle. So hearing, reading, Prahlad Maharaj was fearless. Hiranyakashipu did all sorts of things to Prahlad Maharaj, but he was fearless. Okay. He was fearless. So hearing, when we, and not only that, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.7, the first canto, 7th chapter, 7th verse, it says, if you just give oral reception, if you hear scriptures, what will happen? Shoka, bhaya, moha, everything will go away. That's what Sukadeva Goswami says. So lamentation, fear, everything will go away. Illusion, everything will go away if somebody gives oral reception to the scriptures. Even the gopis, they say in the Gopi Geet, what they say? Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmasapaham shravanamangalam Srimadattatam bhuvi grinanti ye bhurida jana tava kathamritam. When we hear the katha of Krishna, what happens? Shravana mangalam, everything will be auspicious in our life. And all that lamentation, all that anxiety, all inauspiciousness, all sinful action, everything will be eradicated. Tava katha amritam, it's a nectar. So fear will go away when we hear, when we read scriptures, when we develop that wisdom that nothing belongs to me, everything belongs to Krishna. See, it's natural. See, when we were children, we played with dolls. But do we play with dolls now? We don't. Why? Because of wisdom. Same thing. So when we identify with the body, fear is there. When we have wisdom, we don't identify with the body anymore. Then there is no fear. Fear's formula is very simple. Fear is equal to Krishna's plan minus our plan is equal to fear. So the more we surrender to Krishna's plan, the fear will reduce. The more we are ready to accept Krishna's plan, then there is no fear. Now the fear is there because we have our own plan, and we are not ready to give it up. We are not ready to surrender to Krishna's plan. That is why there is fear. And that comes with wisdom. And wisdom comes by reading scriptures. The other thing we can do is chanting. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, verse number 5 says Krishna, when we chant the holy name of Krishna, then through the ears, Pravishtha Karna Randhrena, the holy name will enter our ears, and Krishna will sit in the lotus of our heart, and then he will clean all this lust and anger and fear, and everything will get cleaned. So when we chant, this hankering, everything will go away. So fear will go away when we chant the holy name of the Lord, because there is no difference between Krishna and his name. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvam Nama Namini. No difference between Krishna and his name. So we are chanting Krishna means Krishna is with us. And if Krishna is with us, why to fear? Where Krishna is there, then there is no fear. So when we chant, when we hear, see, we are in this ocean of material world and we are drowning. Now there are waves coming, So Krishna is like that, like that helicopter, they come and save us, rescue, the helicopter rescuers. They'll come and then they'll put a rope, So what we do is we just hold the rope, Now, even when you're holding the rope does not mean that the waves will stop disturbing you. The waves will still come. But now your focus is on holding the rope. So when we chant, it's not that problems will stop. That is one another problem. Wrong expectation. People think I start chanting, I'm a 16 rounder, I should have no problem in life. No, problem will still be there. Waves will still beat you. They'll disturb you. But now you're holding the rope. And very soon you'll go up, and then there will be no more. Because you're not relating anymore to the material world. You're not relating to this body. Then there's no fear and there's no disturbance. So when we chant, we are taking shelter of that rope. But Prabhupada says, if somebody chants 16 rounds, then It's not that we are holding Krishna, Krishna holds us. That's what Prabhupada said. He said, just like a mother. Sometimes, the child holds the mother's hand inside a marketplace. But the problem with this kind of arrangement is it's very risky. The child is holding mother's hand, but the moment child gets attracted to some candies in the supermarket, the child may leave mother's hand and run for the candy. But if it's other way around, the mother is holding the child's hand, then nothing to worry. So now mother will go on shopping and putting everything in the basket. Now even if the child is attracted, he can't go. The mother is holding the hand. So Prabhupada said, when we chant, we are holding Krishna's hand. But when we chant 16 rounds, that means we chant our minimum number, which is like the minimum, which by Prabhupada's mercy, he has given that number to us. Then Krishna is holding our hand. If we are doing our regular sadhana, then even if we want to go in, it's Krishna is holding us. That's one thing. So when we chant, okay, the other way, how to overcome fear is to develop a relationship with Krishna. Just like, in India, when they get married, the one part of ceremony in the end is the crying. The girl will hug the father and cry. She'll hug the mother and cry. She'll hug the younger sister and cry. And she'll be crying, because now there are two things actually she's crying. One thing is she's going to miss her, parents, her house, all that. And the second thing is going to an unknown place, unknown people. It's the fear of unknown, how she's going to be there, in somebody else's house. But what, nowadays, I see that crying has, decreased. Why? Because in the olden days, the boy and the girl were not mixing so much. They never had courtship, They don't know much about, they just seen each other's picture and maybe just said hello to each other. So now everything is so new. But now they mix with each other and they have associated enough with each other that now she's well prepared. She knows her in-laws very well. She's gone there many times, cooked, sometimes stayed overnight. So now there is no fear because she knows them so well. So same thing. If we know Krishna well, if we have developed a relationship with Krishna, then there is no fear. No matter what happens to us, because we know we are going to be fine. We're going to be fine in this world, in association of devotees. And if anything happens, we're going to be fine there also. In every situation, we'll be fine. Like that devotee, there was one devotee in Tirupati, Ananta Alvar. He used to regularly pluck flowers from the garden and make a nice garden for Balaji. So one day it so happened that he was inside the garden plucking flowers and a snake come and bit him. But he's a determined, strong guy, nothing happened. So that day evening when he came to give the garland to the Lord, he was so special that the Lord used to talk to him. So the Lord is teasing him, "Hey Ananta, I heard that today a snake bit you. Is it true?" And he said, yeah, snake bit, it's okay, now I'm fine. Anyway, what does it make difference? So the Lord said, why? It definitely makes a difference, you will die. So he said, so what? If I'm here alive, I'm plucking flowers, making garland for you. If I die, I'll go to Vaikuntha, pluck flowers and make garland for you. So what's the difference? Whether I live or die, here also I'm doing that service, there also I'll do that service. So don't worry about that snake so much, my Lord. What I'm really worried about is some other snake, my Lord, which is inside my heart. The snake of envy for devotees, the snake of all anarthas. That snake I'm worried, my Lord, because that snake will keep me in this material world forever, ever and ever, perpetually in this cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. That snake I'm worried, my Lord. This snake I'm not worried. So I thought that was so very beautiful. So when we have relationship with the Lord, like famously we always hear and quote about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, how when he left the body at the fag end of his life, every day in the morning when he used to rise and look at the sun, he used to say, oh, today also I didn't go to Krishna. Oh, I stayed back. Acha. I mean, he's like, oh, come on now. He's suffering from cancer and it's quite painful. But every single day he's waiting to go back to Krishna. So when we have a relationship with Krishna, then there's nothing to fear. Then there is no fear. Because there's nothing unknown. We know him. We know Krishna. We have a relation with Krishna. So that's one thing. If you have prepared well, like the saying goes, live correct, then you will die divine. If you have lived correct, then you will die divine. So there's nothing to worry. So, change your definitions. Why is there fear? Why is there fear? Oh, I won't be successful. I won't get good marks I won't be having success in my businesses, because your definition of success is wrong. Success is not only in the trophy won, it is also in the race run. It's also in the race run. Sometimes, a boy who has been selected for Olympics representing a country may not win a trophy. But the fact that he is representing his country itself is a success. So success is not always in the trophy won, it is in the race run. So that's all right. Change the definition of your success. So now you should talk like this. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to learn. That means if you win, great. If you fail, you learn. Failure is it's a learning lesson. So now you don't use the word failure. You said either I'm going to win or I'm going to learn. You just learn from your failures and you do it better next time. So like that. If you change your definition, then there is no fear. There will be no fear if you educate yourself. The whole point is fear comes from ignorance. If we educate ourselves, we have to think, we have to reflect, we have to think nicely. Okay, what is causing me fear? Is my relationship causing me fear? This person's behavior causing me fear? Is my finances causing me fear? My health is causing me fear? Boss is causing me fear? Job is causing me fear? Insecurity? What is? So you have to sit and list down, and then you have to think. You have to educate yourself about, okay, I'm feeling this fear, so how do I come out of it? Okay, you have to think about the different reason and make a strategy. Make a proper strategy and try to come out of it. Try to, like for example, Corona is making us fearful. So now what to do? Educate ourselves. Okay, so how do I get rid of Corona? Okay, what precautions can I take? And in case after taking precautions also, if I get Corona, what will I do? Plan ahead. Plan ahead and educate yourself. Okay, I'll go to this doctor. This is what I will do. See, the only thing is part can do its part. We're very minuscule, small part in Krishna's creation. And we cannot control anything. See, even Hiranyakashipu, he could control everything. If he says sun has to rise, if he says sun has to set, Indra used to cut vegetables in his in his kitchen. And the other devatas were cleaning his horses. He had so much control over the whole world. Still, he could not control his own son Prahlad. So why do we think we are controllers of this world? We cannot control anything. So whatever is our part, we'll do. So our part, whatever, what medicines I should take? Am I ready? Do I have this? Shall I arrange my finance in such a way? All that we can do. Rest is not in our hands. So educate ourselves. Sometimes because of lack of education, there is more fear. Like in the olden days, in Indian villages, they never knew what is meant by electricity. For the first time when they saw, they were afraid. Oh, can I touch this? What will happen? Like sometimes some people have fear of flying. So all this happens because of lack of education. If they're educated, look, nothing happens. There are hundreds of flights going every day. No flight crashes. Nothing will happen. If you educate, then the fear goes away. So when you take education, fear goes away. The other thing is engage yourself. Not only educate, you engage yourself. There was one little boy. Children, usually they have this habit, they'll put this thumb in the mouth. I don't know if you have gone through, sometimes some children have that, they'll put a thumb in the mouth, they keep sucking the thumb, and sometimes the parents have to force them, So there was this one lady, she went to her neighbor, she said, what should I do? My son doesn't take out his thumb. Always he's keeping the thumb inside the mouth. The lady gave very nice tip. She said, what I did? My son also had the same problem. What I did is, I bought him shorts which were 4-inch loose. I bought a short for him which is 4-inch loose. So now my son, all the time he has to pick up his shorts. Otherwise they're going down, So with both the hands he keep doing it. There is no time to put thumb in the mouth. So what she simply did is, instead of stopping him, she engaged him otherwise. So now both hands are engaged in lifting the shorts up because they're loose. And now he forgot to put the thumb in the mouth. This is what we have to do. Sometimes if we tell our mind, don't panic, nothing, it will not going to work. Engage it in some other things, it will not panic. Get busy with something else. Take shelter of Krishna. See, we use this word very, very loosely, take shelter of Krishna. Now, tell me, what is the definition of taking shelter of Krishna? It's not some psychological factor or some kind of a psychological feel factor. Yeah, I'm taking shelter of Krishna. Yes. What? I'm in shelter of what? What do you mean you're shelter of Krishna means it's not a psychological field factor, it's a practical factor. Serve Krishna. That is what it means by taking shelter of Krishna. When you cook for Krishna, clean for Krishna, preach for Krishna, when you're doing a devotional service, it's not a chore. It's not some kind of a chore that you're doing. It's a seva. That taking shelter. When we serve Krishna means we are taking shelter of Krishna. People don't understand the definition. They think it's a psychological thing. I tell in my mind, I'm taking shelter of Krishna. No, you practically, you do it. You express it by serving Krishna in some or the other way. So engage your mind, engage your body, engage yourself so much in service of Krishna, then there is no fear. Idle mind, sometimes they say, no, idle mind is a devil's workshop. Sometimes it's just, because see, now I don't know, many devotees, they tell me that, Mataji, so much WhatsApp, so much on Facebook about Corona. It's making us so, even if we don't want to. So that is one thing also which is causing fear, wrong association. Don't take so much news that it makes you panic. Now somebody may say, well, I'm in such kind of a profession or on a particular position where I need to get the news regularly. I can't keep myself away from the news. Okay, go ahead. Great. Hear the news. But then balance it. You are taking negative news. Now also nourish your mind with positive news and then balance it. If you're going on exposing yourself to the stimuli, see, these news are making you panic and you are exposing yourself to it. Okay, great. You are in a situation where you can't escape. Okay, now nourish it. Keep a balance, healthy balance. So you nourish also with Krishna Katha, nourish also with scriptures, nourish with devotee association, nourish with prasadam, nourish with chanting. So if you keep positive balance, then that negative news will not have that much effect on you. That is one way we can get, disassociate from stimuli. Not possible, nourish it with better stimuli, spiritual stimuli, which will motivate you in Krishna consciousness. Analyze the reason, make a strategy, how to get out of the fear. What is causing you fear? Analyze it. Like it should be done in a scientific way. Sit with somebody, your mentor, or your wife, or your husband, or your senior Vaishnava. This is causing me fear. List it down, write it, do it technically. Write it down, and then you will see half of it is imaginary. Other thing is, of course, see, some things may be serious. Like some people have some post-trauma stress and some complex problem that needs medical assistance. I'm not talking about that. I'm not trying to make a blanket statement that everything is imaginary. No, sometimes some people have real problems and then they need to have medical assistance. They need to do pranayam, yoga, give out the negative energy out, some positive energy. All that they will have to do. Now, all said and done, somebody may question, but why can't we simply chant Hare Krishna and be happy? No, it's like this. The car needs petrol. The car needs a mechanic to repair. So even if the car belongs to a Hare Krishna devotee, it still needs petrol. I can't say that I'll chant Hare Krishna and my car doesn't need any more gas or any more petrol and it's going to run. No, body is a machine. So yeah, the ultimate solution is surrendering to Krishna and chanting. And then there are auxiliary things which, because body is a machine, sometimes you may need some, there is some chemical imbalance or some disturbance. You may need some medicine, you may need some medical assistance, and that you can always take. But the whole point is shelter. That's the main frame. And then there are small things which you can do. And then fear of unknown, as I said, fear comes because of sometimes some things are unknown. So how do you go about it? Take one step at a time. I don't know how many of you have been to Haridwar. When you go to Haridwar and especially you go to that place, Har Ki Podi, and then you want to take bath in Ganga, I tell you, it's so cold, freezing cold. But you know what? By impulse, spontaneously, what we do is we'll take one step and then, touch the water with hands, and then we'll put one leg, and then we'll put second leg, and then we'll slowly go inside and then dip in the water. This is how we go about it. We don't directly run and dive into the Ganga because we know it's quite cold. So sometimes when things are unknown, what do? We take small steps and then we see, okay, water is cold, yeah. So then we get mentally prepared and then we take a dip. This is how we go. When there is something which we are venturing. See, apart from this corona situation, there are fears in so many situations, right? Whether exams for students or for jobs or, relationships. There's so many different kinds of fears. So when something is unknown, just go one at a time. Take tiny steps and then you'll be fine. Other thing is acceptance. Fear will subside when we accept situations as they are, right? You know, there was this one lady whose young son died. She was crying and wailing and, oh my God. And then she took the baby, the child to the saint, sadhu. Oh, please cure my child. You can bring him to life. I know you are very powerful. And then he said, okay, stop crying. I'll do that. Okay, I'll bring your child back to life. I simply need some mustard seeds. Can you go and get some mustard seeds? As she was about to run, he said, wait, I have a condition. Go and get the mustard seeds from a house where no death has taken place. So she went and knocking everybody's house in the village. Can you give me some mustard seeds? And they said, yeah. And they said, any death in your house? And they said, yeah, 5 years back, my father-in-law died. Oh, sorry, then I can't take this mustard seeds from you. And then she went to another house. And then she went to another house. And she kept on doing it. And then in the evening, she came back to the sadhu and she said, I could not find even one single house in the village where there was no death taken place. So then the sadhu said, so do you get the message? This is natural. It happens. It's going to happen. And then she just burned the body of the child and did all the, ceremonies. She accepted it. So like that, fear is also sometimes because of non-acceptance. We have to accept the situation. Many times I give this example, when we were young in school, whenever our teacher was absent, we used to have some substitution teacher. And she used to say, don't make much noise. I'm just correcting books. And then we used to say, can we play Antakshari? In India, it's very famous. The young girls now, of course, they're busy with their phones. But when we were in school, there were no smartphones. So we used to just play Antakshari. So that means Antakshari is a game where, I sing a song, and then whatever the song ends with, that letter, the other party has to sing. And then after they complete singing the song, whatever the song ends with, that letter again, my team has to sing. And that's how the whole thing goes, And then if you can't sing, then you lose the game. So I remember we used to do that. And I remember one thing. Whatever letter comes, we just sing. We accept it. We don't cry over it. Why did I get M? I want to sing with N. I want to sing with L. We don't cry. If M comes, we sing with M. And next time if L comes, I'll sing with L. So acceptance, just accept. So that's how life is. Now M has come in the life. Just go on with it. And when other situations comes, then you can enjoy. Now, it's day. After day, there will be night. And after night, there will be day. We can't stop the day. We can't stop the night. Things are going to happen. We can't tell the moon don't go. And we can't tell the sun don't set. It will happen. So acceptance. So this is how, I can go on, but then we're already over time. So yeah, these are the ways we can overcome fear. But all said and done, we can try to manage our fear. We can try to overcome, but we should not give up fear altogether. Positive fear is very good. If we become completely fearless, then we'll become complacent and reckless and careless in Krishna consciousness, and that is a danger. Positive fear is good, is healthy. We should be afraid. We should have fear of hurting others. We should have fear of Maya. We should have fear of Vaishnava Aparadh. We should have fear the moment we commit Vaishnava Aparadh. Krishna just withdraws his mercy, his shelter, his compassion, everything he'll take away, his grace from us. So we should be afraid of committing Vaishnava Aparadh. We should be afraid of hurting others. We should be very much afraid what I speak, I do. Am I hurting anybody with my body, mind and words? I have to be afraid. That's what Prabhupada said. We should be afraid of Maya. Prabhupada said, my disciples are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. It includes all of us, disciples, grand disciples. We are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. Sometimes we just take it for granted. I'm doing my 16 rounds and I'm doing my morning sadhana. No, we have to be extra cautious. So like that, we should be afraid of Maya. We should be afraid of Vaishnava Aparadh. We should be afraid of hurting others. And we should be afraid that we should not forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna and never forget. We should be afraid of anarthas. We should work on them. We should be afraid of losing Vaishnava association. We should value the devotees. With this one beautiful story, I'll end it here. Just read it yesterday on dandavats.com. It was a very beautiful story by some Russian Mataji. I think she and her husband had attended some home program, house satsang. So after that, they're supposed to catch a flight. So the devotee said, Prabhuji, Mataji will pack some prasadam for you. So the Prabhuji said, no, we're already full and it's late night and hardly a short flight, we'll be home. Don't want any prasadam. The wife said, no, I want prasadam. I'm very hungry. Now these devotees, as they are, devotees, they're already always, magnanimous, such big heart they have. They packed prasadam enough for 4 people. So much prasadam they packed. Now these people, they caught the flight, they were inside the flight, and then they were sitting, and then husband was in one seat and wife was on the other seat. Now somehow luckily, next to the husband one seat was empty and there was one gentleman sitting, so he called his wife, come and sit here. So then they both sat, and then Mataji was like, now take out prasadam, I'm so hungry. So they just immediately removed everything and they opened, and there was so much prasadam, they don't know what to do. So then they were thinking, maybe we'll share with this this man sitting here. So they asked the man, do you like to have some? And this man was a little arrogant. He said, no, I don't need anything. So they said, okay. After some time, the air hostess came and asked this man, you want food? So he said, yeah, I want vegetarian food. Now this wife, she whispered, Prabhu, looks like he's a devotee. He's asked for vegetarian food. Shall we offer again? And she again offered, do you like to take food? We are also having vegetarian. And he said, I said, no, I don't want. And then they were like, why is he getting so upset? And then again, when he was getting, again the third time, but can you, do you want to taste this? And she was going on insisting. And this time the man, he was like, tears coming out from his eyes. And they were like, what did we do to offend him? We're simply asking him to take prasadam. And then he said, Hare Krishna. He said, I was a devotee and I was a pujari in London temple. Now I had some misunderstanding with devotees and I left ISKCON movement. But this Krishna, he's such a friend, such a well-wisher. I left the movement for so many years now, but he's not leaving me. Every time he's sending me prasadam, sending me devotees, sending me something or the other. And today, while I just complete the funeral ceremony of my father was sick for some time. And there everybody was taking non-vegetarian food. So I was last few days, surviving on tomatoes and salad. And today I was just thinking, I was so hungry as I take this flight. And now when I sit here, just see Krishna makes this arrangement. He, gets feast prasadam for me. That is why I'm reluctant to take. Why can't Krishna leave me alone? I'm just trying my best, but he doesn't leave me. He's always behind me. He was crying and then he took prasadam and he was, happily taking the prasadam. And I thought that was so beautiful. Krishna is our real friend and real well-wisher, and we should have complete faith no matter what situation. He's always there. Sometimes we don't understand things on the face value and it doesn't make sense to us at this moment, but Krishna has a plan for everything, and whatever situation we are put in, we should take it very positively. Even this quarantine situation or even this lockdown situation, whatever it is, it's a practice. See, frankly, one day we have to leave association of all these people and be quarantined with Krishna permanently. So why not we practice to be in quarantine with Krishna? What is happening now is, no social relations, no going out, no mixing with people. The only thing is maybe, Bhagavatam and, whatever. So it's good practice. Anyway, future will be quarantined with Krishna. So why not quarantine with him right now? He's our only friend and well-wisher. So faith will give us a lot of confidence, and that way we can overcome our fear. So with this, I end it here. Thank you so much, devotees, for your patient listening. So, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Jai. Are there questions already in the chat? Okay. We can go for 15-20 minutes.
Okay, so can you raise your hand devotees if you have any question or fears?
Okay. Okay, what I understand is your first question is when you look at the picture of Krishna and if you don't bow down, you're worried that Krishna will do something bad to you. Okay, now there's nothing to fear. Krishna will not do anything bad to you. He's our ever loving Father and our ever well wisher. So there is nothing wrong and he will never harm you. He can't, he doesn't know how to harm us. But all said and done, this thing of bowing down to Krishna, following rules and regulations, it's a matter of discipline. So it is something like, when we deal with our Father. Okay, our Father expects us to be respectful. See, any relationship, there are 4 stages. That you do things sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of desire, sometimes out of love, sometimes as a matter of duty. For example, a child may be initially fearful of father. If I don't study and I don't get good marks in exam, my father may scold me. So out of fear, he studies. Then later on, as he progresses, he may study out of desire. If I study nicely, my father will give me a new cycle. Now there is desire. And then after some time, it may be matter of duty. Oh, my parents are spending so much money on my college fees and, I have to study. So as a duty. And then one stage comes in the life of every child where it's not fear, it's not desire, it's not duty. They just love their parents and they want to do something because they love them. So this thing happens with devotees also. Sometimes in the beginning, we do things because we are fearful. Oh, if I don't do, Krishna will not protect me. That is fear. And then sometimes we do it out of desire. Oh, if I do, Krishna will bless me. And sometimes we do out of duty. Oh, Krishna has given me so much already. I am just grateful to you. But the best is when we do something out of love. I bow down to Krishna because I love him. I'm not afraid of him. I love him. So that's the highest. But all said and done, we can slowly go step by step. We cannot have spontaneously love for him, and all may not be on that stage. So no harm. If you are afraid of your father, sometimes we feel afraid of Krishna, but nothing wrong in that. At the same time, don't be afraid is my advice, because Krishna won't do anything which will harm you. But at the same time, sometimes, if there is fear, just like child, out of fear, he'll study. Out of fear, he will eat properly. Similarly, sometimes when we have a little fear, then we'll be disciplined and we will do things which are supposed to be done in this human form of life. So, little fear is okay. At the same time, don't become very negative. But for sure, if you don't bow down to Krishna, he won't do anything to you. But try to do it out of love and affection. We want to love Krishna. That is what it means by bhakti. Bhakti is not having fear of God. Bhakti means to love God. Your second question about demigods, you said that whenever you see some demigods, you have a negative feeling. There's nothing to be negative about demigods. Oh, they're so nice. They're all devotees of Krishna and they're all helping Krishna. They're like ministers of Krishna, controlling this whole things and doing little errands, in this material world. Vayu, Agni, Varun, Indra, Devatas, Shiva, they're all doing so many things. So there's nothing negative. We should always be so respectful towards demigods. Actually, they are all very highly elevated devotees. In ISKCON, sometimes we very loosely talk about them, which is so wrong. The whole point is the stress given in our scriptures and different purports is for the whole point to drive home point that we have to worship only Krishna and not go into demigod worship. But that doesn't give us a license to think little about demigods. So they're highly elevated devotees of the Lord. So don't have any negative feeling whenever you see some demigod picture or something. Bow down with all reverence and respect and pray to them that just like you are serving Krishna so nicely, please bless me that I become a good devotee of the Lord. And coming to your third question, where you said you are worried about your job, okay, this is material world and there will be always insecurity. That is why this material world is called Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. Nothing is permanent. Everything will be like that only, sometimes up and down. So how to get rid of this fear is you be ready to accept. While you are doing your work, you give your 100% and mentally prepare yourself that if something happens and somehow even after doing my 100% best, if I am removed from this job, that's all right. That is Krishna's plan. The whole point is endeavor is our, result is Krishna's. Result we cannot manipulate. We can only do our best. So like that. Of course, nowadays the way these corporate jobs are made, they are designed in such a way that they will always give you anxiety, and then they want you should work more harder because you're always in anxiety to give your best performance, and that way the company is benefited. Just like you see in those poultry farms, they're continuously putting headlights, halogen lights on the eyes of those cattle and hen and all the other birds, because they want that should be continuously, eyes should be open, and they cannot sleep, and because they cannot sleep, they have nothing to do, they'll mate, and if they mate, more eggs will come out and the production will increase. So this whole thing, the way they torture. Similarly, the outside world job is like that only. They will continuously keep you in insecure feeling. So you're always worried about your colleagues. He may do something, he may go forward, and then like crab, we keep pulling each other's leg, and somehow it's like a survival of the fittest. It's like a jungle law, like a jungle rule, just like the animals, just for one deer, all the lions are like fighting, something like that. So yeah, what you can do as devotee is, we do our 100%, and because we have read Bhagavad Gita, we know that we can only do our karma, but the result is in hands of Krishna. And see, we can do our part. What is our part? And the other major part, where that is Krishna's control, is not under our control. So we can be sure that whatever Krishna does is for my good. So give your 100% and be prepared to accept it. Okay, if this doesn't work, so there are two ways. One is you take shelter of Krishna philosophically, and second thing is practically think about other things also. Keep your other options ready. Okay, if they remove me, what is the other option? What I can do? Keep yourself prepared. So is that they say that you prepare, for the be prepared for the worst. You expect everything will happen good, but be prepared for the worst. So practically also you make all the preparations. Educate yourself. How should I do? Don't have unnecessary fear. But if the fear is looking like it's going to be true, and you may be sacked or you may be removed, then get ready with your other options. That's the only thing we can do. I just hope this helps you.
Yes, Anita, please.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to ask the question. Mataji, my question is about, for the kids. How, can we give some tips to identify good fear and bad fear, so that they can continue in the right path in their lives?
Okay, so did you say that what is a good fear and a bad fear for the child? Okay.
Like how they can identify and how they can make their paths, or how they can.
So the children are hearing, is it not? Okay. So children, fear of exam is a good fear, and you should have that fear. Okay, and then you should study well. Okay, fear of exam is a good fear. Fear of not fear of not doing something wrong, like not being a fear of being immoral or doing something wrong is a healthy fear. You should be afraid of not doing something which will bring a bad name to your school, to your teachers, to your parents. So that fear you should have. Fear of you should not procrastinate things. You should be active. And what is unhealthy fear is see, it's like this, children. You should prepare well for your exams, okay? And then depend on Krishna. So it's not that, you go to your exam hall and then you say, well, I'm hearing ISKCON classes and I'm being dependent on Krishna. The whole point is you prepare well and then depend on Krishna. That's the whole point. So study well, be active, and have that fear. Not that, Mataji gave a class on how to be fearless, so I'm not going to study for exam and I have full faith Krishna will protect me. Now, that's not going to happen. You prepare, and then that, Krishna will play his part. You have to play your part. See, I'll tell you something. When you go to a hospital, the doctor may do the best of surgery. The doctor will take care of you nicely. The doctor will give you medicine. But you have to do your part also. If the doctor tells you, look, you have a fracture in your leg, don't move. That means you don't move for 10 days. And then after 10 days, doctor says, yes, now you do physiotherapy, now you move, then you move. But if you don't follow the doctor, and when he asks you to be active, you become inactive. When he asks you to become inactive, you become active, then you will never get cured. So Krishna does his part. We have to do our part. It's a team. We are a team with Krishna. So you should be having some fear. Yeah, you should study well and you should not procrastinate things. You should study very well. At your age, what you can do? You have a healthy balance of education and spiritual education. So you can ask your parents to tell you nice stories and you hear from Bhagavatam at an online. I think now so many online classes are there for children to learn Sanskrit and moral value lessons and learning Bhagavad Gita slokas and chant or whatever, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, 16 rounds, whatever you can do. And now you have all the more time. I think no school is there. Everything is online. You have more time. And associate with children of your age who are also following Krishna conscious process. That way you can, have that buddy thing, share with you what did you read today, how many times you chanted, and that way you can have good association. And what is unhealthy fear is for children, don't worry so much about what people think about you and what people say. If I got less marks, what will people think? Don't worry. Did you give your 100%? That is what is important. As I said, result is not important. If you haven't given your 100%, then there is something to think about. But in any case, don't worry about what people will say, what people will think, what my friend will think. You always take shelter of your parents, what they think is so important. And, getting fear of, don't imagine things. Daydreaming is very big problem with children, Let me tell you one small short story. There was once a potter and he made a lot of pots. So he started daydreaming. Oh, I made so many pots and now I'm going to sell them. And once I sell them, I'm going to hire 10 people to work under me and they will make more mud pots with double speed. And then I'll become a rich man and then I'll sell more pots and then I'll sell more pots and then I'll become a very rich man and then I'll marry a beautiful girl. And if she doesn't listen to me, I will kick her. And the moment he kicked, all the pots got broken. So all the dream got shattered. So that shouldn't happen, I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll do this and I'll... No, you should be very, focused, right? Okay, now I can go on and on, but I want to take some other questions too. Okay, I hope these tips help you.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes, Gunita Mataji, please ask your question.
I'm a regular listener of your
About Reiki and all, you can very well continue. There is no harm in that, Mataji. It's simply positive energy. In fact, I remember in my student life when I was in college, I have done Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and I was practicing. And I don't think there is anything wrong in that. Just do it in addition to chanting also, because chanting will help them. It's a wholesome protection it will give, because it's not about the body. We also want the protection of the soul, is it not? So you can do it. There's nothing wrong. It's just giving off some positive energy. This is your way to express your love and affection. So there's no problem. And it does help. All these things are, acupressure, acupuncture, pranic healing, Reiki, some chanting of mantras, meditation. All this will, some or the other way, it helps. So no harm. You may continue. But the whole point is, these are all zeros, but if the one is missing, then it will not make sense. So don't make sure that you don't miss that one. Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting should happen. Surrender to Krishna should happen. Krishna should be in remembrance. And prayers to Krishna should be there. Rest you can keep on adding all these things. It's okay. Okay, Mataji, next question. Okay, so I understand your question. You said sometimes, let's say you had an accident, then you don't want to go to that same place or you don't want to drive again. I've seen many times devotees when they pass through that situation, they don't want to do it again, they don't want to drive again anymore, that vehicle. So it happens. What you can do is, you have to slowly come over it. Like I said, when you go inside the Ganga, you don't directly dive. You just take one step and one step. So if you had some accident, you can give some time and space, because it happens, in Hindi there is a saying, दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक के पीता है. Somebody is burnt, one time they had sipped a hot milk, next time if they take cool buttermilk also, they are so cautious, and this happens when we have passed through that situation. Like I was telling in the beginning of the class, sometimes you pass through a trauma. Now what exactly happens is there's a whole mechanism that is working now in your body. Now that incident happened. Now that reaction which your mind gave at that time, the instructions that happened, the whole chemical structure gets changed inside the mind. Now, though the situation outside is changed, now accident is over, everything is finished, but still your mind is, whenever the mind is thinks about driving, sees that car, then again that same things come up again and again, So it's because there is some kind of a change in the chemical release, there is structure. So yeah, so what you can do is you can take some assistance, like you can take some help, some counseling, and some some pranayam, some yoga, and slowly you'll get back to that, get back to normal. It will take time. Sometimes time is a big healer. If it has just happened, it will take some time. So give it more time. Time can heal any kind of wound. And, slowly, sometimes you start, if you sometimes drive for some short distance, and then again, if you feel safe, then a little bit more, and like that. And if it's required, if you don't want to drive, it's okay. So it's like that, it takes some time. Don't hurry up yourself, and slowly you'll get okay. This post-trauma is a common thing. It will happen. If something has happened very terrible, it is not easy to forget it. You need some more time and help. So take your own time, and then you chant also. All these things, whatever tips I gave, you just follow everything, and slowly you will recover from that fear. And I think fear of losing loved ones, that's what you asked. Yeah, everybody is going through it. What can be done? We are all passing through that situation. So we just count our blessings in this time. Sometimes if things are not under our control and we can't do much about it, at least we can think about the good times. And we can count our blessings, and we can think, whatever, in this situation, like I always say, we can't be grateful to Krishna in all situations, but we can be grateful to Krishna amidst all situations. So sometimes we can't be grateful that Krishna gave COVID, or we can't be grateful that this person died, but we can be grateful amidst that situation. That means when such situations happen, we start thinking about some other things. Okay, Krishna has taken away my loved one, but then at least this thing Krishna has given me. Oh, this association of devotees he gave me. Okay, he gave me opportunity to chant holy name. Okay, I'm able to understand scriptures. Okay, I got opportunity to take prasad. Like that, you can start counting your blessings and somehow balance your mind, because these things are beyond our control. We can't do anything about it. People are dying left and right. In India, if you see the situation, oh my God, every single day, and not somebody that we are reading in the newspaper, very close in our own community, continuously devotees, parents, or some far distant relative, or some devotee, it's chaos, So like that, but it's not under our control. So it's not under our control. So we just see the positive things out of it. Whatever is positive in our life, we just count our blessings and move forward. Okay, are we done? Or any other question?
I guess the questions are unending, but based on Monday, if you have time, and I know it's very late in India. So.
Okay, last one. Just pick up somebody.
Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.